Hey, hey, hey. Time for another out of this world story from our space. Just as I'm getting over the shock of my wife's affair, I find out she's pregnant by her affair partner. What now? My wife, 26 female, and I, 29 male, pretty much have not had sex since COVID started. Mostly because 2 months into it, I lost my job as an office manager at a small business. There were no other jobs hiring as much as hospital jobs, so I made the decision to become a janitor at a hospital. The steep drop in income, as well as that I'd be working in the front lines, made my wife tell me she can't bear to touch me at all. I ended up making the decision that because my dad had an empty room above an attached garage, that for the time being, I'd go to work and then go home to my dad's garage with its separate entrance, so I wasn't putting anyone at risk. I thought things were going okay. My wife and I had a 3-year-old daughter together, and I'd FaceTime her whenever I could. But my wife started getting distant and asking if I could pick up another job because her finances were still so tight. She was disappointed when I said I didn't think I could find any, and the people at the hospital were telling us that overworking ourselves would really doom us if the virus happened to be incubating inside of us. I would call my wife, and she just started not answering my calls until later. I was the most alone I'd ever been, but I thought that at least my wife seemed to be okay since she was posting about having Zoom wine and cheese night or a virtual board game night with her friends pretty much every night on her story. Slowly though, my FaceTime calls would be reduced to a few quick words with my wife before she put the phone on my daughter. I came home around fall of 2020. However, my wife said she'd rather I sleep in the guest bedroom and keep most of my activities restricted to that area. So basically, from that point all the way to March, I would spend most of my time at home in my separate room, and only my daughter would sometimes come in. I started suspecting something suspicious when my wife would just leave the house for long periods of time. Also, I saw discarded price tags of expensive clothes and other stuff that I knew we wouldn't be affording on my salary. She leaves her iPad open one day, and I see a trail of money transfers via Zelle from the same person. She finally admits to the affair but phrases it as she was in total survival mode, and I sarcastically said that I had hopped off into the sunset like you were going off to war, and I was supposed to wait at the windowsill for you. After our blowout argument, I go to my dad's house to blow off steam. When I get back home, my daughter was up already, but my wife was sleeping. She was clearly upset and could sense we were fighting. We went to counseling, and my wife told me some legitimate issues she was having, namely the panic attacks at the thought of getting coronavirus and being a single mom to our daughter. 2 weeks go by since our last session, and my wife starts feeling sick. During therapy, we had promised each other an open phone policy if either of us felt uncomfortable, because she also said that she cheated because she was thinking I could have easily also had an affair. I felt she was being sneaky again, so I asked if I could see her phone. She then said that she needed to talk to me. She broke the news that she took 2 pregnancy tests and went to the doctor when I was at work with her father, and the texts reflect that. It's a foregone conclusion that the baby isn't mine. I didn't want to come face to face with the other man, but my wife said that he wants to be a part of this kid's life. My wife and I are both white, and the other man is African American. And the other man says that he's the only one who can impart on the kid the other half of his or her identity. After I told my family, they all said that eventually my daughter was going to ask questions, and there was no way to press this one under the rug. They are blowing up about the fact that I was going to have a physical representation of my wife's infidelity around me and begged me to leave her. But my wife had said previously that if I tried to leave her, I would just end up breaking my daughter's heart. And in the past few days, I've been bombarded by assumptions that I will be racist towards the child, especially from the birth father. This has not done anything to my view that every person is equal, and it burns me that people think that just because this awful thing of infidelity I experienced involved a black man and will soon involve a biracial baby that I'm racist. I will never be anything but affectionate to the kid. I will honor the child as my daughter's sibling, but I don't think I can stand my wife anymore. I don't think I can stand being around her because every moment, it's always anger and stress for me. Like how this baby she wants to have is coming, but I don't see how I could be in the delivery room when the father wants to be there. I don't know what to tell my daughter, who knows that I'm very upset right now. I can barely afford to make rent for our family, yet she was out spending some other guy's money on her own comfort items. Do I stay and allow the father to start paying for expenses related to the baby? Do I have to let him visit the house now or talk to him? I don't think I can do either. A wife said that the affair ended, but now the relationship will never end. But my daughter is very astute and will be seeing how I handle this. And part of me still remembers the things that made me fall in love with my wife. But I hate to say that I would have forgiven her if she wasn't pregnant. I'm sorry, I don't hate the kid or anything, but this just made everything so much more complicated. I am at a loss of how I would leave. We get some reaction from Cat and the Fiddler. Your daughter will absolutely be seeing how you handle this. Do you want to give her the message that you should stay in a marriage where you aren't respected if the kids are involved? Okay, you didn't do anything wrong. Lead your wife and co-parent your daughter without being married to her. Plenty of children growing up this way today. Children will absolutely understand after a while. The next comment from Fruit Bats. He probably is in a good spot. He's got her dead to rights of infidelity. There's only a few states where that really matters, but sometimes a judge will at least take that into account. He's underemployed, so we're talking minimal to no alimony and low child support, and he can get a better job down the road. His wife also has a lot going on with a new baby and trying to figure out what the F she's supposed to do right now. So she probably won't be up for a drag-out fight. She's also going to have to figure out custody and support with her new baby daddy too. So that's another thing, splitting her attention and resources. I also think if he starts digging into where his daughter was when mommy was out banging dudes, he might find some evidence of her being unfit. His family seems supportive, so he could probably borrow money for a lawyer. He could totally do this and come out on top. Moving on to the next story. Girlfriend cheated on me and is pregnant. In order for this story to make sense, I'm going to have to give you a little background. My girlfriend and I have been together for years. We're both 30. She works in PR, but her last job, though the pay was pretty good, had no room for growth. She was there for probably 4.5 to 5 years, and she quit a little over a year ago because our son was due in mid-December, and she thought it would give her the perfect amount of time to bond with him and find the perfect job. After about 3 months, I noticed she's not really happy staying at home, and interviews she has gone on for higher-level jobs aren't really going well. So I encourage her to apply for a job at a place relatively close to our house, making a lot less money, but a ton of growth potential. She reluctantly agrees and gets offered the job on the spot. She comes home and tells me she still isn't sure this is the right place for her, and she thinks it's a step back. Again, I encourage her until she finally takes the job. She ends up loving the job. She made new work friends right away, and over time, they became real friends. One of them is a 24-year-old named Steve, not his real name. They'd call and text each other a lot. Same with several of her other work friends. They had a work group chat, would hang out some weekend nights for dinner and drinks, all her coworkers who were friends. About 4 months ago, she starts getting really distant and weird. I tried to talk to her about it, but she tells me it's just work and she has a lot on her plate. We had sex with each other once in the last 5 months. I try to support her, but it ends up backfiring in my face and causing arguments about petty stupid stuff. Our son's first birthday was right before Christmas. We celebrated it the Sunday after. She again is weird, moody, and distant. She ruined his birthday. All our friends and family were there. She ends up leaving, telling me I'm hounding her and she needs air. I don't know what to do at this point. I let her go. I tried calling and texting her for hours. Nothing. Her parents and siblings, same thing. No one can get a hold of her. Finally, at around 11 p.m., this all happened around 3 to 4-ish in the afternoon, she comes home and tells me it's just not working out anymore. I'm dumbfounded and start asking questions. She again tells me it's all my fault and I'm making her crazy, and this just isn't working, and she's going to her parents for a while. So she leaves. I let her go, figuring she needs time to cool off. I'm able to figure out from talking to her mom she's not really there. The next day, I call and text her many times throughout the day and hear nothing. At this point, in my mind, I think something is going on. But I don't think it's cheating. I think she's either in danger or having a breakdown. About a week passes with very little interaction with her. Just to drop the baby off with her mom so she can see him because she doesn't want to see me. I tell her parents I'm worried about her and think something is going on, and they agree. I'm assuming she told them before telling me, but long story short, after about 2 weeks of this crazy stuff going on, she agrees to meet me at a coffee shop. I immediately ask her if she's okay and if she needs help. She proceeds to tell me she'd been sleeping with Steve for months and she's pregnant. I was in complete shock, walked out, and cried in my car. It's been several weeks, and I still feel completely devastated by this, and I think she's living with him. I'm trying to co-parent with her, but I hate her. I don't want our son in his apartment. I'm contacting several lawyers tomorrow to see where to go from here. Anyone have advice? I don't know how to move on from this. I thought she was the one. Let's get some community reactions, shall we? First up, BBBGGGHHH. Assuming you are not married, you must go hard legal-wise if you do not want your son to be in your girlfriend's affair partner place. I feel you could take advantage on the fact that she got pregnant from an affair while already having a child. I would also recommend to take a record on how is she parenting the child now too. Right now, you have a son who also got betrayed. Focus on that too. We have a comment from deleted account. Legally, she has abandoned her child. This is leverage the OP has for full custody. OP, what others have advised here is true. Get some individual counseling for yourself to help you now and get you in a better place. There are a whole lot of great single groups out there that help too in communities. Take your time to heal too. I get you don't want your son near this guy, but he will not last long and may end up with their baby and abandoned too. You have your son, put him first. She didn't. Last comment from Solid 2014. You gotta do what's best for you first. Get your mind in a good place so you can continue to be a good father. She's no good. Walked out on you and her child without a moment's hesitation. A new guy will come along soon and Steve will be sitting in your shoes. Think of Steve as a blessing in disguise removing this cancer from your life. It hurts like hell, but all surgeries do. Stay strong.